Everyone, welcome to another episode of Independent Artists Unite Song Series. Super psyched tonight from Cork, Ireland, Eddie and Liam from Arctic Lights.
Oh, yeah.
And a few guitars.
A few guitars. You can never have enough guitars.
You should see the other room.
Well, guys, I was, I just put this the Independent Artists Unite playlist on SoundPlate, and you guys came through as a submission on SoundPlate. And I tell you, I don't know if any of you guys do playlists, but I would say what comes through on SoundPlate is very interesting. That's all I'll say. And God bless them. Keep going out there. but your song blew me away. And
I bet you said that to all the bands.
Huh? Yeah, you said that to all the bands. No, I mean, I sent it to my guitar player that I had back in the 90s because I'm like, you gotta rock out to this, man. It's just like so infectious, the riff. I mean, from the top, melting is what I'm talking about. For those of you who haven't heard Arctic Lights, go listen to them right away. From the start, the bongo drums. Now, I don't know if you're referencing $6 Million Man or not. Did you guys get $6 Million Man in Ireland?
Oh, yeah.
You know those 70s spy shows with the bongos.
Yeah.
You know, as they're like spying around. So I was like, I immediately went into my teenage self, and then it's the it's so good, man. It's so good.
We'll have to sample that as the gritty. We'll sample that for the next tune.
Oh yeah. Is the guitar almost sounds like a sample, but is it played live?
It's all played live, yeah.
It's all played live. Wow, that's great control. I mean, it's just great control with the with your right hand. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Muting, yeah. Sound it's amazing. And then there's such tasty things in the arrangement of this song. You guys must have been like high-fiving each other in the studio nonstop. You know?
Well, what's interesting about the way we write, we kind of write remotely. So it gives us a chance to kind of breathe with ideas.
Okay.
And then, so like you're not kind of volumetric madness in your face.
Yeah,
you're trying to write
like the old days.
Okay.
Yeah, like the good old days.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that's how I'm doing it now. I'm in Denmark, and I'm working with James K. Ultra of Pain in the Ass. He's in Virginia in the States. And so we are sending stuff back and forth. He's producing all my stuff now. So I know that, but it's so exciting to get the new file, right? New file comes through. You're like, yeah. Sit down with a cup of coffee.
Sign of the times.
Yeah.
Coffee, sign of the times.
What we actually do is we throw ideas back and forth with each other, and then when we know that we have something that we kind of like, then we meet up because we're both living in Cork. So I might call him to Liam's house for a weekend, and then we might have a few drinks, and then we sit down and we start working on arrangements and stuff like that, you know. But it's great. It's great to do.
The joy and fun that you guys must have really comes through because it's such a fun arrangement, you know, of this song, you know, with the and then when it breaks down to the and the guitar solo comes creeping in. It's such a good moment, man. It's like, and two, I have to say that I'm going through a breakup right now myself. It's a primo breakup song. This one, I don't know if that's what it's about, but it really fits in my head perfectly.
It was kind of lots of different ideas came around. Like the way that I kind of write lyrics a lot of the time would be when I'm doing a guide vocal, it's the first idea that comes into my brain, and a lot of the times, maybe 90% of the times, I will use that line somewhere through the song, and that's exactly how this song started. The lyrics part of it, anyway. The idea, Eddie came up with the music idea first, and he sent it on to me, and I got a buzz from it straight away. And I was just God only knows where the idea came from. It was just the first thing that came out of my mouth. It wasn't even in my head by the time it came out of my mouth.
Come here to me. Hang on. Whose head hasn't been melted?
True.
That's why we're here. That's
Just
why
our
we're here.
experience.
Our heads has been melted.
And we're gonna melt yours, baby.
And so you're doing the singing then, Liam?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really love the singing style. And it's I love that, like, in the second half of the first verse with the low harmony comes in.
Yes.
It's quite low actually, but it sounds super cool. I was saying, I don't think I've ever heard that before. That kind of vocal you hear sometimes, but not with like something really low like that. So I thought that was really unique and cool, but it really
Cheers,
is
thanks.
Effective.
Thanks,
Yeah.
I mess around with vocals a lot. I wouldn't be your atypical brilliant singer. I wouldn't win too many singing competitions, but that's not what it's about. It's about the way you get your vocals across. I think it's, for me, it's just it's music is kind of a wall of noise, and you don't pick out individual things per se. You can eventually, but the first thing that strikes you is just a block of music coming towards you.
Yeah.
And vocals for me are like that too.
Yeah. It's just another instrument, really. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm actually delighted you said that, Scott, because I can tell you one thing now is that Liam is actually forced to sing. Because he doesn't think he's a good singer. And I keep saying to him, Jesus, man, this sounds good to me.
Well, you know what I find is that a lot of people that think that they're not good singers are actually really natural singers. They're just like being themselves, and it actually has a really great quality to it. I keep, because I'm on this show, I'm really, when we talk about people's creative process and stuff, and a lot of times people are like, oh God, then the vocals, and it's just the worst thing, and people say, oh, I'm not a singer. And they're some of my favorite singers, honestly. It's really just about a character to the voice that's unique, and really has your personal stamp on it, which yours really does.
Yeah. And being unique is one of our, I suppose, big ambitions. Like, we think we are unique, but everybody's unique in a way. But we like what we do because of the uniqueness of it. We don't want to be like anyone else. We're happy the way we are,
Yeah.
And we obviously would have influences from music that we grew up with, like Joy Division and Led Zeppelin, and across such a broad range of music that we love, and that's bound to creep into music someplace. But we would prefer to not sound like anybody, but it's an impossibility because we all started listening to music somewhere, know.
Yeah, for sure. So what was the genesis of Melting? What was how did it come about? Did it start with a guitar riff, or?
It started with guitar riff and drums. Eddie came up with the original. He sent it on to him, and we'd be sending each other kind of lots of ideas, and every now and again you kind of go, yeah, that's cool, I like that. And that was one of those moments. We've had another few of them, like recently.
That was one of about 110.
He sent me about 3,000 ideas, and we've used 2. No, but so he sent me on that idea, and I just started working on it and sent him back an idea, and that's the way we work it. We work it to and from and sending. And when we get to a certain point where we're kind of happy with the arrangement to a certain degree, I'll start doing the engineering. I'll get it to a certain point, and then we'll do the production between us. Kind of send on mixes, and then he'll do some of the mastering, and everything we do is in-house, which is great. So we have complete control over it. It's great.
Wow, so you're both really proficient engineers then.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I think we're on the same wavelength. Music. We actually taught ourselves to. We've been in studios when we were younger, and other bands and things like that, and good studios. But we taught ourselves how to use this technology that's available today.
Yeah.
Just so we can do what we do, because it's it's amazing. Back in the old days, you had to go into a band room with 4 guys and trash it out and see you next week or 2 days.
Yeah.
This way, we can, if Liam has an idea or I have an idea, we can just go straight into the room and just record it down and go back and listen to it tomorrow. And and then we learn. And if we don't know how to do something, we learn how to do it. You know.
Yeah.
Like we have all the gear, pedals and guitar amps and all that. We like to do things organically as much as we can, you know.
Yeah.
With microphones and things like that, and then when it goes into the computer, which most people are making music on these days,
Yeah.
You know, we just work, we just figure it out, and if it sounds good, it's good to us. It's good enough for us, you know.
Well, it sounds great, man. Really sounds like high fidelity awesomeness in headphones, man. I'm really enjoying it. I've played this song so many times. You could check, you could go pick up the Spotify artist and see I'm the crazy guy in Copenhagen that's listened to
Brilliant. Love it.
that's listened to it 20 times in the last 3 days. Oh man.
How long are you
So
in
much fun.
Copenhagen?
I've been here for 13 years.
Oh,
Brilliant city.
Yeah.
Brilliant city.
Yeah, yeah. And I you know, I had we had one daughter, a 6-month-old when we got here, and I thought, oh well, it's a perfect place to travel around Europe from, you know. So I thought I would see all of Europe, and then another 2 kids later, and I hadn't gone anywhere except into the bathroom to change another diaper, you know.
yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that story, yeah, beautiful Danish woman. That's how I ended up here, and yeah, and yeah, that's that story. But are you guys? You seem like you've been friends for a real long time. Is that right?
Yeah, a long time. Sometimes being involved in music and bands, it's a bit like being in a relationship. And one of the things you have to do is you have to have trust. And I think when you have trust, you're onto a winner straight away, because when there's 5 or 6 different people in bands, you know, trying to get those people to mix, and the chemistry is different, and it keeps changing. Whereas with 2 people, you kind of know exactly. I know exactly what Eddie is thinking before he even says it sometimes, you know. It's great. It's great, because then I can say to myself, "That's shit, forget about it. I'm not even going to send it to Eddie. It's shit anyway."
He knows anyway. But what's amazing is that when we're doing music, right, he can say to me that it's bad or shit or whatever you want to call it, and I say the same to him. We both trust each other's opinion, so nobody's trying to get one over the other person. It's really a case of like, okay, we want to make it the best we can make it if we're going to release it. So we're very open and honest with each other. But I don't think we've ever had an argument, have we?
Well, not face to face anyway. But the beauty the beauty
not out loud, only in my mind.
Yeah. My head is melting, baby, melting.
Never think about me.
Yeah, the song's about you, Eddie.
Well, primarily Eddie is the bass player and I'm the guitarist. But sometimes Eddie can send stuff onto me in guitar, and I can send stuff onto him in bass. It's whatever sounds good works.
Yeah.
If it works, it sounds good. It stays. Happy days.
And how long is this? How long has Arctic Lights this project been going? It's just a couple of years, right?
2021.
2021. Okay.
But 3 years. 3 years. Is it
3 years,
3.5
yeah.
years?
Awesome. Cool.
I was involved with Liam. I was involved with Liam in the 90s, where we went under the name Bulkhead.
Oh, but you were in the same band?
Well, it was kind of. I was in a different band, and Liam was kind of doing stuff solo on his own.
Okay.
And then I was in a band called Emperor of Ice Cream. I don't know, did you ever hear of it? But and then when we stopped, I joined up with Liam then to do some of the Bulkhead stuff that Liam wrote. And then we played a few gigs, and we got in a drummer and stuff like that, and it went really well. But I suppose we made a decision back then, Liam, didn't we? There was record company interest and stuff, you know, but we just
It was just coming to a stage where we were looking at mortgages and bills and life, and music was kind of getting to a stage where there was less and less money in it. Record deals were kind of they were becoming development deals where you're getting 100 quid a week. Like, try to get a mortgage on 100 quid a week, forget about it. So I got fairly pissed off with music at that stage for a while, and I decided to take a break for a little bit. And 15, 20 years later, I hadn't picked up a guitar, and then myself and Eddie got in touch about 3 years ago, and we started this project. So I had to get all the guitars back out, and even in 3 years, it's changed hugely from where we were 3 years ago. and the direction we're heading in now is just fabulous. It's kind of more what I would have been doing back with Bulkhead days, and slightly even different, a bit more rocky. Probably it would have been a bit more industrial back in the day, but that was probably because of the technology. Whereas now we can play everything live. You'd have been doing a lot of sampling and stuff back in the 90s, you know.
Yeah.
I came off the back of a record deal with that other band I was in, and you know, it was we discussed it when there was interest, and you know, it all sounds great when you get offered a record contract, but what bands have to realize is that, like, you know, if they do get a record contract, it takes up a couple of years of your life, and if it doesn't work out, you're kind of stranded 4 or 5 years later without a job and stuff. So we said, fuck that, like, you know, like we do what we do. We're not tied to anybody. We can do whatever we want, and it's fabulous. You know, we're not craving for fame or any of that kind of stuff. We just want to make music, and we're delighted that people like yourself like what we do. That's our mission complete. You know, we're delighted with that. You know, that's what we aim for.
I mean, that's the same philosophy I have, because it's just I mean, I say to my producer James, I'm like, wait a sec, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, I can make any music that I want. I love the way it sounds, and like, that's like my new idea of like making it. You know, it's like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, we're gonna make it, without even knowing what the fuck that means. But yeah, often it means like I have so many friends that had record deals in the 90s. Not a single good story. Not a single.
5 years time. Your 5 years time. Your best songs, right? You're gone from the record label, and those best songs that you had for the last 5 years, you can never touch them again because the record company owned them.
Yeah.
And anyone that ever wants to use them, you'll never see a penny out of it. It's just madness, like. It really is madness.
Yeah. And then you're broke, so you sell them the publishing and get a check so you can eat for a year. And then I mean, I don't know if you guys know this band Spacehog out of New York. They're a English band, but they did pretty well at the end of the 90s, and they had it was this very typical story with the first big you know, the record deal. The first one went pretty well. They were on David Letterman and stuff like that. You know, they toured opening up for Aerosmith actually, and then the second record was just a kapoosh, you know, it went nowhere, and they were just dropped, and then they sold the publishing, so they had something to live on. And then their song that was like the modest hit back then, it comes out on the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, right? For the trailer for it, you know, the trailer for the volume 3 on that, the mixtape, you know, like the mixtape, you know, kind of thing that they have on Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're on his mixtape, you know. No money to them, no money to anybody in the band. It's all goes to who owns the publishing now. And I was like, oh, this is tragic, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would have been such a good payday for those guys.
Yeah, but you see, the problem is that it's a music business, and somebody somewhere in that, whoever had control of that music, obviously made that deal happen. You know, the band probably wouldn't have made it happen themselves anyway, and that's what happens. It's like, look, I experienced a little bit of it when I was younger, and well, it's like sport and stuff. People don't realize that it's a business, you know. So, like, I mean, we're away from all that now, and here we are doing our own thing, you know.
What's ahead for Arctic Lights? Are you guys playing out live at all, or do you want to? Is it mostly a recording project?
It's mostly recording, but the option is there at some stage if we wanted to do it. We've both played it. We've done loads and loads of live gigs in the past. We're capable of doing it again if we want to, but it's more enjoyable at the moment to do this when we want to, if we feel like doing it, you know, rather than we've got a tour coming up and we have to pack up the jobs for 2 months or 3 months and off you go. It's not, and it's not worth doing it for 2 gigs. You know what I mean? By the time we get a drummer in, we get another guitarist in, keyboard player, get them play, get them signed up, get them. It just doesn't make sense. Not at the moment anyway. But it's there. It's there if we want it.
It would be nice to go to a band room, and we know we've identified the drummer who's really good and he's a good friend and he'd love to play with us, but it's just finding the time and rehearsals and you know, we do get asked that a lot, you know, and I suppose the way myself and Liam are working, we're very happy with it, and but
it just sounds like it'd be so great to hear those songs live. That's probably why
Be
people
good. It'd
like
be very
it. I mean,
powerful.
like, it'd be so great. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But when
Yeah,
we
who
get
knows,
sick
who
of
knows.
writing, we might decide to do that. You just don't know.
So what
But
is
there's another
it?
two songs. There's another two songs we're working on in the studio at the moment, and like that just keeps on happening. And we kind of go, look, we're going to give it a break now. We're not going to write anymore.
You know, yeah. Can't
Digest it
can't
for a
stop.
while. And all of a sudden,
Never-
bam, bam,
never
there's another
stop.
couple of ideas.
Happens. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
We say, okay, we're gonna do. I'd be on to Liam saying we should maybe, because our debut song was called King of America, and Liam wrote, and it's brilliant. I love that song. It's a brilliant song, and it's kind of a bit poppier than some of the stuff we're doing right now, which is very dark. And I was kind of saying, oh, maybe we should. I don't know, but maybe we should try and get rid of the dark stuff and do something kind of like King of America, which is kind of more song. You know, it's a really good song.
Yeah.
And then we're chatting away. And then 2 days later, I do the complete opposite and send them something. me.
From the bowels of hell. By the way,
Yeah, your contradiction.
This is called Bowels of Hell. Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of tried to do that too, where I'm my music is like more synth pop, and but I'm like a goth rocker at heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I was like trying to do like more synth pop, but not it's also taken a turn to like darker areas, yeah.
hold on.
That's
What can
life,
you do?
isn't it?
What
That's
can you
life,
do?
yeah.
Yeah, well, look at the
Absolutely.
planet, you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
The whole world's going to shit, so you know.
You know what I find? What I find is that like when there's loads of people doing what we do, they sit in front of computers and they try to write music, right? And I myself and Eve discussed this many a time. What happens is that because they're on their own, right? They're sitting down and they're writing away, and the stuff is all very there is no energy there. And that's what myself and Liam are deliberately trying to. We discussed it. It is very deliberate. We said, okay, we understand the trappings of that. I'm at home on my own. You're at home. It's very easy to sit down and come up with all these mellow kind of things. But we want to write music with energy, you know. And it's not easy when you're trying to do that on your own, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that a lot of musicians fall into that trap when they're writing at home. They lose the energy because they're not in the band room with their mates and they're hopping up and down, you know.
Yeah.
So
And
like
I think the kind of back and forth that you guys too, I know, because I'm doing that with my producer too, and I know we're always like a little bit trying to impress the other person, you know what I mean? Like, listen to that, you know. And then the other gets it, okay, listen to that, you know. And so it's like, do you guys have that kind of one up?
he's a hard man to
one-upmanship?
impress.
He's a hard. Yeah, but that's great. Then you try that much harder, right?
Yeah. That's it is the way to go, though. As Eddie was saying, like energy. Try look, iMac. I'm writing into an iMac, trying to get the energy back out of an iMac. It's very difficult, like very difficult. So yeah, it takes a lot. It's a lot of work. And normally by the end of, like, I'll do a lot of the legwork at this point in the kind of pre-production and engineering side of it. So by the end of it, I'll be so sick to death of hearing that song. I won't want to listen to it again for a couple of years. Whereas Eddie has got fresh ears at that stage, and that's where he kicks in and he takes it on from there, you know, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But like, you know yourself, you listen to a song 1,000 times, you don't want to listen to it again.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We actually hate that song, Melting.
Melted. He loves it. I hate it. I hate it. He loves it.
Here's our new song. We hate it. But it was like that back in the day with the, you know, I mean, it's like when you're, you know, you're writing a song like in a rehearsal studio with a whole band. So then you play it a million times in there. Then you go out and gig it a million times. By the time you get into a studio and pay through the nose for the privilege of recording it, you're all like, "Fuck this song."
I'm out of here. I'm gone. Yeah.
My new one.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this technology too, where you can capture the freshness, you know, right when you create something, you know, which is just like really, really great. So, but did all this come out of the did it kind of come out of the pandemic? Yeah. because
Yeah.
it's kind of timed with that. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
What kind of happened was that old band that I was in called Emperor of Ice Cream. It's a long story, but basically, we were signed to Sony. We got dropped. Somebody wrote an article said we were one of the best bands ever to bring out an album. Blah blah blah. So what happened in the pandemic is we got together and we brought out the album, but we're all living in different countries. So what happened then is I saw all my gear, so I had to buy a new bass guitar and stuff like that when I got together. And then I was talking to Liam about it, and then Liam says, "Oh, I'm going back writing as well." So I go, send me on some stuff. So Liam sent me on some songs, and I was kind of going, "Fuck a jam, man!" And then next thing, I don't know, was it a couple of weeks later? Liam was up in the house there. We were doing King of America. It was fucking fantastic, and we haven't stopped since.
Yeah. That's the magic.
That is the
Yeah.
joy of it.
Gotta capture it while it's happening.
Yeah.
And so how long have you guys known each other?
Oh, what? Jesus, I'd say
35 years.
over 20, 30 years anyway. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, there's guys I played music with years ago, and I've never seen them since. And the other guys then that I would be friendly with. It's kind of, there's such a mix of people that you play involved in music, and as I said before, it's a bit like a relationship. When you're in a band, it's intense. It's
Yeah.
5 or 4 or 5 people with each other all the time, and
Yeah.
it can become very intense. And you get to see the true personalities of people, and sometimes they're not great, and sometimes they are. So myself and Eddie, obviously, we've gotten on really well over the years, so it's great,
But there's a great connection there from a musical point of view, where it's almost like we both see the same things, even though we're kind of different in styles as musicians, But we both see the same thing. It's very, there's a great understanding there, and a very honest one. So we can be honest and say all that shit, and sometimes if you're abandoned, you say that, like, people would get offended, But we're not offended because we see the same journey,
Yeah.
And there's no kind of egos and stuff like that, which is rare enough,
Yeah.
And I think that's why it works, Plus the fact we keep surprising each other with the stuff we do, And there'll come a time when we get, when it'll run its course. But at the moment, like, we're thriving. We're working on material at the moment, and we're really excited about. But I suppose everyone says that, but it is. We think it's very good anyway,
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it is. I'm excited to hear it. Yeah, I mean, part of the trust too is like that you can be vulnerable enough to keep putting your ideas out there, right? When you're working in a partnership like this.
Yeah, because you do bare your soul when you're coming up with ideas, and especially if they're bad ideas, and it's not an easy thing to turn around and say that shit, And sometimes, like, we wouldn't be that blunt about it, but Eddie wouldn't have to tell me straight away that it's shit for me to know that I think Eddie thinks it's shit. Do you know what I mean? which is kind of cool, like, but yeah. It is.
All right, so we know when it's bad, it's shit. Now, when it's good, what is the term? What's the?
It's shit. It's the real shit.
It's the real shit.
We were buzzing yesterday, like we said, we were working on some new one there, and 2 of us are buzzing at the moment because we thought here we go again, It's fucking great,
Well, I'm a big fan, guys, and thank you for doing this show. I'm super psyched to hear the new stuff when it comes out, and I hope you'll come on again and talk about it. This has been a blast.
Brilliant.
And if I'm ever in Cork,
yes, fella, we'd love to see you. Brilliant.
See you guys.
Cheers, Kate. Thank you very much.
Thanks a million, really.